Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Habitual Linecrosser, and today we're talking about military spending. And yes, Grandpa Buff?
Oh, I heard you were talking about spending, so I figured I would show up. Did you know the cost of a single B-52 is around $84 million?
Yes, Grandpa, I was going to go over that.
Did you know that the U.S. currently has 58 in service?
I did see that as well.
Okay, smarty pants, did you know I carry almost 48,000 gallons of fuel?
Yes, 47,975 gallons.
Okay, well, did you also know that going out with the boys means something completely different in Thailand?
Well, that's just...
Because I didn't. Turned into the World Fencing Championship real quick.
Okay, Grandpa, that's enough. Time for you to go.
I don't know why. Have you seen your analytics? They like us way more than you.
You know you're me, right?
Yeah, but they don't.
Thanks for stopping by, Grandpa.
No problem. Stay in school, kids, and tip your, well, fucking everybody nowadays.
The U.S. military's budget for 2023 was $816.7 billion. But where does that money go? Well, let's start out with inflation. Inflation is affecting everybody. It's affecting your wallet, it's affecting my wallet. The cost of gas, the cost of produce, the cost of everything in the world has exploded. That also explodes for Uncle Sam as well. So in fiscal year 2023, around $12 billion was given to the United States military just to combat inflation of things that they already needed to purchase: parts, bullets, beans, and gasoline. The US military is also one of the largest developers in the world. We build a ton of shit everywhere. So the cost of all materials have gone up, so we had to set aside an additional $3.6 billion to cover the increased cost of developing areas. Remember, gas affects you, gas affects the military as well. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to say, we go to the Middle East specifically for oil, and that's just factually inaccurate. Around 11% of the oil that the United States buys comes from the Middle East. The vast majority of it comes from Canada, of all places. Gotta love our crazy psychotic hat. But speaking of gas, just to offset the cost of inflation with gas prices, the United States had to allocate $2.5 billion additional to cover the cost of fuel. This covers everything from your Humvees to your DDGs. This covers your THAAD systems, your Patriot systems. The United States military uses a lot of fuel, and this is partially because we operate in austere environments, and fossil fuels are something that is easy to transport, easy to move, and easy to find for US forces. We're open to green energy, and we're really looking into the possibility of green energy. It's just right now those systems and processes haven't gotten far enough along that we can use them in combat scenarios. Then you have to look at what it costs to recruit people. The military loves our bonuses, at least the United States Army. We love to give out bonuses for all kinds of things. Right now, enlisting in the United States military can net you up to around a $50,000 bonus if you have the right qualifications and you're a good candidate. While you're in, re-enlisting can net you upwards of $40,000, especially if you're a low density or star MOS, okay? Well, low density and star are not synonymous, and I know somebody who works in HRC is going to correct me on that, but leave that one alone. For people who are in and have good qualifications, they're looking for very specific things, according to what I found on the internet: foreign language proficiency, psychological operations, microwave systems operator maintainer, human intelligence or HUMINT, and then air and missile defense crew member. My job. We need air defenders, and I'm not mixing words when I tell you guys we need bodies to operate these systems around the world. The US has some pretty simple priorities, right? For fiscal year 23, our priority number one is, of course, and always is, protect the homeland with the defense budget. Protect the United States, right? That is our priority one. Our priority number two happens to be protecting US assets and our allies abroad, and that is the vast majority of what we do. The United States itself, in the continental United States, aside from the terrorist attack in 2001, hasn't really been attacked because the United States is an that's a fucking hard word. Expeditionary? Yeah, there you go. Military. We spend most of our times bringing the fight to the enemy. That being said, the US Navy is pretty much the sole proprietor of protecting global trade. Now, don't get me wrong, other nations do their part, and I would never downplay that, but vast majority of it is the United States Navy. We're seeing this right now in the Red Sea. Global trade has been affected because those ships now have to go around Africa, which is like a 2,000-mile just redirect rather than going through the canal there in the Red Sea. The U.S. military is immediately on it. The U.S. Navy is immediately there protecting these ships and protecting these shipping lanes. And it's not just for U.S. interests. Global trade affects the world. So if global trade is affected in some other country, the cost of their goods go up, the cost of importing that to the United States goes up, the cost of everything continues to just go up. So we protect global trade in an effort to help stabilize the global economy. Priority number 3 is to deter aggression while still being able to prevail in an active war. Now that's kind of fancy words, but the purpose of that is we need to have enough money that if we start shooting at each other, we can fight this war here while the rest of our forces around the world are still supplied, they are still considered deterrents, and they are still protecting what they need to protect. The 4th priority in the defense strategy is to build a robust and resilient joint force that is capable of fighting. So everybody spends a whole lot of money on training. That's what I'm getting at there, is we spend a metric fuck ton on training our forces. Now, if you take a look at the United States military's training schedule and compare it to literally everybody else in the world, ours is just unimaginably complex and busy. When I tell you that it's unimaginably complex and busy, I'm not joking. It is not uncommon for an infantryman to do 3 to 4 ranges a week while doing land navigation and doing an overnight STX or FTX, field training exercise. For air defenders, it's not uncommon for us to spend weeks in the field honing our craft, moving our equipment around, conducting maintenance, and what we call PM&E, which is prepare for movement and emplacement. For an artilleryman, it's not uncommon for them to spend weeks in the field shooting rounds, moving here, moving there, and fighting with their system as much as they possibly can. This training costs an incredible amount of money. This also goes to talk about aircraft and flight hours. And speaking of combat aircraft...
Hey, it's your favorite. Did someone say favorite? What are you doing here? He said fighter aircraft, not pipe dream. You were but a rough draft. And I am the final copy. Look at you, Shih Tzu, the fart of war.
I take it you still don't like the new guy?
The spears you throw will return to you tenfold. Cannon, Nostradamus. You speak in riddles, I speak in missiles.
Okay, kid. How about you tell us about yourself and military
Not
spending?
while he's here.
Come on.
Your fear sustains me. Fear? The only thing I fear is sucking a piece of debris from you into one of my engines after I send you back to build a bitch workshop. Fine. I'll go. See you in the skies soon. I bet you won't.
Was that really necessary?
Yes, I feel much better now.
Anyways, since you're here, how about you tell us what costs are associated with you?
I cost around $150 million to purchase, and the U.S. currently has 186 operational airframes.
And how about flight hours?
I was getting to that. I cost around $70,000 an hour to fly.
That's about $1,166 per minute.
I can carry 6 AIM-120 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9 Sidewinders with a combined payload cost of $7.3 million. Rounding, of course.
That's a lot of firepower.
Not to mention the cost associated with me drinking myself to sleep every night.
Aw, why?
I just want to intercept something.
Maybe someday, kid. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. As always, do not give in to the 22 a day.
Every single one of you is amazing.
If you'd like to support the channel, please go to habitual.linecrosser.com and show your support. Do you want to say it?
Gladly. Play me out.